Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Emily US English. I'm Emily, your host for today. If you're new here, I'd like to let you know that we upload helpful English learning videos every day to assist you on your journey to become more confident and fluent in English. In today's episode, you will improve not only your English listening skills, but also your speaking and communication skills. This lesson is a complete B1 B2 daily life English conversation masterclass that will help you speak naturally, understand actual conversations, and confidently use advanced English vocabulary and phrases. Throughout this video, we'll explore everyday situations, helpful conversation styles, natural expressions, and advanced vocabulary that you can use in coffee shops, workplaces, shops, phone calls, social interactions, and many other moments in everyday life. You'll listen, repeat, practice, and build true fluency step by step with me. By the end of this lesson, you'll know how to pronounce more clearly, more confidently, and more advanced when speaking English. You'll learn phrases that are essential in everyday life, advanced expressions used by native speakers, and you'll practice them in real-life conversational examples designed to help you think and respond faster in English. Before you start, be sure to subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon if you want more powerful and useful English learning sessions like this. So, take a deep breath, relax your mind, and get ready to speak English to me. Let's get started. As we move on to this lesson together, I want you to imagine that you are entering a typical day in your life. But today, you are entering that day in English. You wake up, you're ready, you talk to people, you solve problems, you make decisions, and you communicate in different situations. The purpose of this masterclass is to train your brain to think in English during these moments, help you recognize natural phrases, and help you feel confident when speaking. So let's start with something simple and warm, something that opens up almost any conversation. How to greet someone naturally and confidently at a B1, B2 level. Do you already know phrases like hello and how are you? But now we're going to make them more natural and advanced in the way native speakers use them in everyday life. When you meet someone, you can say, "Hey, nice to meet you," or "Hello, how was your day?" These phrases sound relaxed, modern, and friendly. When you greet someone in a work environment, you can say, "Good morning, how are you?" or "Good afternoon, hope everything goes well." These greetings are a little more formal, but still natural and warm. When you listen to me, I want you to repeat these greetings gently and slowly, following me in your mind or out loud, because repetition helps your mouth, tongue, and voice become comfortable with true English rhythms. Now imagine that you are meeting someone you haven't seen in a while. Instead of the usual, "How are you?" you can say, "It's been a while. How is everything?" This phrase immediately sounds more advanced and personal. Another natural expression is, "What have you been doing recently?" which is something that native speakers use all the time in casual situations. Practice saying it in your mind right now. What have you been doing lately? Let the words flow slowly from one to the next. When you're comfortable with the rhythm, you seem more confident. You don't need to rush. Fluency is not speed. Fluency is smooth. Next, let's move on to one of the most important parts of everyday life conversation. Talk about your day. When someone asks you, "How was your day?" you can answer simply, but today we are practicing more natural B1, B2 reactions. You might say, so far it's been pretty good, or it's starting to get a little stressful, but it's getting better, or it's a busy day, but I'm managing. These answers show real communication, not just basic English in textbooks. If your day is challenging, you can say, "It was a long morning, but I'm trying to keep a positive attitude." If your day is relaxing, you can say, "It's a quiet day and I'm enjoying my vacation." These sentences help you sound natural and expressive. Now, let's practice together. Imagine someone has just asked you, "How was your day?" Breathe slowly and choose one of these phrases. Whisper softly or speak loudly. "It's pretty good so far." Again, repeat. "It's been a busy day, but I'm managing." Feel how the words connect. This is how you train your speaking muscles. When you use these phrases, you show confidence and clarity, which is essential for enhanced communication. Let's get on with your day. Let's say you meet a friend or colleague and they ask how you spent your morning. Instead of basic descriptions, you can use richer, more advanced vocabulary. You might say, "I had a productive morning," or "I've accomplished a lot," or "I've spent the morning catching up on some important tasks." If your mornings are slow, you can say, "I took time to prepare today," or "I had a slow start, but now I feel more energetic." These expressions help you express yourself more naturally and clearly. Let's take another small hands-on moment. I want you to think about your morning today. Think of one thing you've done. Now let's describe it in a naturally advanced way. For example, instead of saying that I woke up late, you could say that I woke up later than usual. Instead of eating breakfast, try making yourself a quick breakfast before starting your day. If you've been working or studying, you can say, "I've spent the whole morning focusing on my tasks." 4. I've caught up on some of the exercises. Repeat your chosen sentence slowly and clearly. Every time you practice a real sentence about your life, you become more fluent. Now, let's move on to one of the most common everyday interactions you'll face. Ask questions and give opinions. This skill is important for B1 BU speakers who want a high-end and confident sound. Let's start with natural ways to ask for someone's opinion. You can say, "What do you think about this?" or "How do you feel about it?" Another great phrase is, "I want to hear your thoughts." When you ask for someone's opinion at work or in a formal setting, you can say, "Do you have any thoughts on this?" or "I appreciate your opinion." These expressions help you sound more polite and professional. Now, practice giving your own opinion. Instead of basic answers like, "I think it's good," you can say, "I personally feel it's a great idea," or "In my opinion, it could work very well." If you politely disagree, you can say, "I understand where you're coming from, but I have a slightly different opinion." Or, "I understand your point, but I'm not entirely convinced." These phrases are essential for advanced English because they demonstrate emotional intelligence and language skills at the same time. Let's practice together again. Imagine you're in a group conversation and someone asks, "What do you think?" Choose one of these phrases and repeat after me. "Personally, I feel it's a great idea." Again, "In my opinion, it can work very well." Now, let's try a polite disagreement. "I understand where you're coming from, but I have a slightly different perspective." Practice this slowly. This type of sentence helps you sound respectful, thoughtful, and fluent. Now, let's move on to another important topic in everyday life, explaining a situation. Many English learners struggle with this because they try to translate from their native language. But explaining a situation can be simple and clear if you know some advanced connectors. For example, you can start with that basically, or what is, or what happened. These expressions help you introduce your explanation naturally. For example, you could say, I'm basically on my way to work when I realize I forgot my phone. Or, the problem is that I have scheduled a meeting, but I can't find the document. These phrases help the listener understand the situation clearly and quickly. Let's do a quick exercise. Think about a small problem you've had recently. Now let's explain it using one of these advanced connectors. For example, what happened was that I missed the bus because I left home a little late. Or the problem is, I want to go to the gym, but I don't have enough time. Repeat your sentence slowly and feel how natural it sounds. We will continue to build more everyday life situations, more advanced vocabulary, and more speaking practice as we continue in this lesson. This is just the beginning, and each step will help you become more confident, clearer, and more skilled in speaking and listening English. As we continue to explore natural English conversations on a daily basis, let's move on to one of the most common things people do on a daily basis: gossiping. Small talk may seem simple, but at the B1, B2 level, it becomes an opportunity to sound more advanced and confident. Small chats help you connect with people, maintain friendly relationships, and make conversations smoother. For example, when you meet someone in an elevator, at work, or in a store, instead of just saying, "Hello," you can say, "It's been a busy day so far," or "It's a morning, isn't it?" These expressions are natural and show that you are comfortable using English on a daily basis. When you want to continue the conversation, you can add, "How is everything going on your end?" or "Is your day going well?" These small additions make a big difference in fluency because they show that you can carry on the conversation naturally without feeling stuck. Now let's imagine a real situation. You walk into your office or classroom and you see a colleague or classmate. You want to start a friendly conversation. A natural and uplifting way to start is to say, "Hey, how was your morning?" Or "Nice to meet you. How does your week treat you?" These types of sentences help you express warmth and confidence. When they answer, you can keep the conversation flowing by saying, "I can imagine," or "That makes sense," or "I totally understand." These answers show the ability to listen actively, which is one of the most important skills in conversational English. A good speaker is also a good listener. And using these brief supportive phrases helps others feel heard. Let's practice together. Imagine someone telling you, "My morning is really busy." Your answer might be, "I can imagine it's a bit hectic for me too." Now, imagine someone saying, "I didn't sleep well last night." You might reply, "I'm sorry to hear that. I hope the rest of your day feels better." These small replies make the conversation smoother and help you sound interested, polite, and fluent. Repeat them slowly and naturally. The goal is to make these expressions part of your speaking toolbox so that you can use them at any time without hesitation. Now let's move on to a very important area in everyday life conversation. Make a request politely. English is a language that uses gentle expressions to sound polite. At the B1, B2 level, you should be comfortable with phrases like "maybe," "do you mind," "do you think you can?" And maybe, for example, instead of saying "give me the report," can you say Can you send me the report when you have time? Instead of closing the window, do you mind closing the window? It's a bit cold here. These phrases represent respect and courtesy, which are essential in the workplace, customer service situations, and everyday interactions. Practice making polite requests. Think of something simple that you want someone to do. Now make it a polite request. For example, if you want someone to help you, you can say, "Do you think you can help me with this?" If you want someone to explain something, say, "Can you explain that back a little slower?" If you want someone to wait, say, "Do you mind waiting a bit?" Practice these verses in a gentle, steady rhythm. The more you repeat them, the more natural they become. Now, let's move on to providing help, which is another important part of advanced English communication. When you want to help naturally, you can say, "Do you need help?" Or, "Do you want me to take care of that?" Or, "I can help you if you want." These expressions are friendly, polite, and professional. When someone accepts your offer, you can reply, "No problem at all," or "Sure, I'll be willing," or "Let me take care of it." These short answers sound fluent and confident. Practice offering help. Imagine someone is carrying heavy bags. You can say, "Do you need a hand with that?" Now imagine someone looking confused when reading a document. You can say, "Do you want me to explain?" Repeat these sentences slowly. Good English is built through calm repetition, not pressure or speed. Now, let's talk about giving reasons, which is another important skill in everyday life communication. When someone asks why something happened or why you made a decision, you can use expressions like "the reason is because of what happened," or "I decided because," for example, "The reason I'm late is because the traffic was really heavy this morning." Or, "I decided to change my plans because I need a break ad." These connectors help you hear more organized and clear, which is essential for B1, B2 communication. Practice giving reasons. Choose a small example from your day. Maybe you've changed your habits or made a decision. Now, let's explain why using the advanced connector. For example, "The reason I skipped breakfast was because I was late," or "I decided to walk instead of taking the bus because of the nice weather." Repeat your sentence slowly. Feel the natural explanatory flow. Now, let's move on to describing how you feel, which is extremely important for natural conversation. Instead of basic words like good or bad, use a richer vocabulary. For example, instead of "me being good," you could say that "I feel pretty optimistic today," or that "I'm in a really positive mood." Instead of "me being tired," try to feel a little exhausted, or "I'm running out of energy." These phrases sound natural and advanced. If you're feeling stressed, you can say, "I feel a little overwhelmed," or "I have a lot on my plate right now." These expressions help you convey your emotions more accurately and naturally. Practice describing emotions. Think about how you feel right now. Choose one of these expressions and speak softly to yourself. "I feel really focused." Either "I'm a little overwhelmed today," or "I'm in a calm mood." The more you practice your emotional vocabulary, the more fluent and expressive you become. As we continue this lesson, we will build richer and more advanced conversations based on real-life situations in everyday life, such as shopping, traveling, going to work, social interaction, making decisions, handling misunderstandings, and learning to listen naturally and confidently in every moment. Speaking English fluently is not about memorizing long lists of vocabulary. It's about using phrases that have real meaning in real life situations. And that's exactly what we're practicing in this lesson together. As you continue to learn how to speak more naturally in everyday life situations, let's explore one of the conversations that most people deal with on a regular basis. Talk about planning, whether you're making a plan, changing a plan, or canceling a plan. The way you express yourself in English affects your level of confidence and fluency. Instead of saying, I have plans, you can say that I have scheduled or I have arranged some, or I plan to spend the evening at home. These phrases sound more advanced and they help you express yourself clearly. When you want to invite someone to do something, instead of saying, do you want to hang out? You can say, would you like to have coffee later? Or, are you free to meet up tonight? These expressions help you sound natural and polite. Now, imagine that someone invites you to something, but you can't attend. At the B1, B2 level, it is important to decline politely. Instead of saying, I can't come, you can say, I'd love to, but I've already planned something. Or, I really appreciate the invitation, but I won't be able to come today. Or, thanks for thinking of me, but I was tied up at the time. These answers show maturity, politeness, and confidence in communication. When you politely decline, you show respect while still making your situation clear. Practice making and rejecting plans. Imagine a friend saying, would you like to meet for lunch later? Your answer might be, I'd love to, but I'm a bit busy this afternoon. Maybe we can try another day. Now imagine someone asking, are you free tomorrow night? You can answer maybe, what did you think? Or, I can, let me check and get back to you. Practicing these phrases will help you feel more comfortable in natural conversations. Another important part of everyday communication is giving suggestions. When someone isn't sure about something, you can politely come up with an idea using phrases like, maybe you can try, have you considered it yet, or an option could be. These expressions help you sound supportive and thoughtful. For example, if someone says they're stressed, you might say, maybe you can take a break, or have you considered taking a walk? It can help you relax. If someone has a problem at work, you can say, one option might be to talk to your manager. Or maybe you can explain your situation more clearly. Practice making suggestions. Think of a problem someone might have, such as feeling overwhelmed with work. Now, let's make a suggestion using one of these expressions. For example, maybe you can break down your tasks into smaller steps. Or, have you considered asking for help with that project? Repeat your sentence slowly. Good communication comes from clarity and empathy. Now, let's dive deeper into the actual conversations in everyday life by focusing on expressing interests. When someone asks for your opinion on food, activities, movies, or plans, you can use phrases like I like, I tend to, I usually go, or I prefer it. For example, I like to stay home in the evening, or I usually go something light when I eat lunch, or I prefer the outdoors more on the weekends. These expressions make you sound natural and confident, and they help you avoid basic reactions like, I like it or I don't like it. Let's practice expressing interests. Imagine someone asking you what kind of movie you like. You may answer, I tend to like adventure movies, or I prefer dramas and mystery movies. Now imagine someone asking you how you like to spend your free time. You might say, I usually go for quiet walks. or I like to relax with a good book. Repeat these gently, allowing your mind to connect the ideas easily. Now, focus on describing your habits. Another essential skill for everyday English life. Instead of basic descriptions, use more advanced natural expressions. For example, instead of saying that I wake up at 7 o'clock, you can say that I usually start my day around 7 o'clock, or that I tend to wake up early most days. Instead of drinking coffee, you could say that I like to start my morning with a cup of coffee, which sounds more conversational. When talking about work, instead of saying I work until 5 o'clock, try I usually finish work around 5 o'clock, or my workday usually ends in the late afternoon. These phrases help your English sound smooth and natural. Practice describing your habits in an advanced way. Think about a part of your day and express it naturally. For example, I usually start my day by stretching quickly, or I usually spend my morning doing important tasks, or I usually take a short break in the afternoon to reset my mind. Repeat your sentence slowly. Each repetition will enhance your fluency. Now let's move on to an extremely important topic, handling misunderstandings in English. Misunderstandings happen all the time, even among native speakers. At levels B1 to B2, you need to know how to handle them politely and confidently. If you don't understand someone, instead of saying what or I don't understand, you can say, sorry, can you repeat that? Or I didn't get the hang of it. Can you say it again? Or can you speak a little slower? These expressions sound polite and professional. If someone misunderstands you, you can correct them by saying, I mean that, or let me explain it another way. Or, sorry, maybe I don't know. These phrases help conversations run smoothly, even when communication is interrupted. Practice handling misunderstandings. Imagine someone asks you a quick question and you don't hear it clearly. Say softly, sorry, I didn't catch that. Can you repeat it? Now, imagine someone misunderstood something you said. You can answer, I'll be there later in the evening. Practice slowly. These sentences help you maintain confidence and clarity in communication. Now, let's move on to another important skill, expressing agreement and disagreement. When you agree with someone, instead of just saying yes, you can say absolutely, either I agree with you or I think you're right. These responses sound more polished and advanced. When you politely disagree, avoid sounding blunt or harsh. Instead of saying no, you can say I understand your point of view, or I understand what you mean, but I have a different point of view. Or, that's an interesting point of view, but I'm not sure I'm completely agreed. These phrases show respect even if you have a different opinion. Practice agreeing and disagreeing. Imagine someone saying, I think working from home would be better. You can agree by saying, I agree with you. It offers more flexibility. Now, imagine you disagree. You might say, I see what you mean, but I find it easier to stay focused in the office. Repeat them slowly. These phrases help your conversation sound balanced and mature. We will continue to build more conversational skills in everyday life, more advanced vocabulary, and more natural practice as we progress in this lesson. Each paragraph strengthens your confidence, helps your mind think in English, and prepares you to communicate in real-life situations clearly and fluently. As we continue to build your English communication skills in your daily life, let's move on to one of the most common and useful abilities you need to develop. Describe the experience. People often ask about your weekend, trip, last activity, or something memorable you did. When describing the experience at the B1, B2 level, you want to avoid short or basic answers. Instead of saying, "That's great," try something more enriching, like, "It was a really refreshing experience," or "It turned out to be better than I expected," or "It was quite fun." In fact, these types of sentences show that you can express details and emotions naturally. If you have a difficult experience, instead of saying it's bad, you can say it's a little difficult, or "It didn't go the way I hoped," or "It was a difficult situation, but I learned something from it." These expressions help you sound thoughtful, clear, and uplifting. Practice describing a simple experience. Think about something you've done recently. Maybe you go for a walk, cook something new, meet someone, or watch a movie. Instead of saying, "It's okay," try a more advanced version. "It was a relaxing way to spend my time," or "It was surprisingly interesting," or "It wasn't exactly what I expected, but I learned something new." Repeat your chosen sentence gently. Every time you describe your experience in detail, you train your mind to think in English more automatically. Another important part of everyday communication is to show certainty and uncertainty. Sometimes you're sure about something and sometimes you're not. When you want to express certainty, instead of just saying, "I'm sure," you can say, "I'm absolutely sure," or "I'm positive about it," or "There's no doubt in my mind." These expressions sound strong and confident. When you want to express uncertainty, instead of saying, "I don't know," you can say, "I'm not entirely sure," or "I'm a little unsure about that," or "I'm still trying to figure it out." These expressions help you communicate in a gentle and natural way without sounding confused or unprepared. Practice expressing uncertainty. Imagine someone asking you about a plan that you're not sure about. You might reply, "I'm not entirely sure yet. I need a little more time to decide." Now, express certainty. Imagine someone asking for your opinion on something that you strongly believe in. You might say, "I'm absolutely sure it was the right choice." Repeat these sentences slowly. Fluency comes from using a variety of expressions in real-life situations. Now, let's move on to a topic that helps you sound very natural in English by using extra words and hesitant phrases. In real-life conversations, native speakers often pause or soften their speech by using natural expressions like, "Well, really let me think," "honestly" or "honestly." These are useful when you need more time to think or when you want to sound more relaxed. For example, instead of answering right away, "I don't know," you can stop and say, "Oh, I'm not really sure," or "Honestly, I need some time to think." These expressions make you sound more natural and help you control the rhythm of the conversation. Let's practice the phrases hesitation. Imagine someone asking you a difficult question. You can start by letting me think about it, or indeed, "It's a good question." Now imagine someone asking for your honest opinion. You can start by being honest. "I think you should take your time on that decision." Practice these gently. Using hesitant phrases makes your English more practical and conversational. Another important area that we should explore is expressing appreciation and gratitude. When someone helps you, the basic reaction is thank you. But the B1, B2 speaker can sound more natural by saying that "I really appreciate it," or "That means a lot to me," or "Thank you very kindly." When you want to thank someone for their time, you can say, "Thank you for taking the time to help me," or "I appreciate your patience." When someone thanks you, Instead of just replying with you being welcome, you can say no problem or at any time or I'm willing to help. These phrases make you sound warm and polite. Practice gratitude. Think of someone who has helped you recently. Speak to them in English. I really appreciate your help. Or it's that you're very kind. Thank you. Now imagine someone thanking you. Answer softly. No problem at all. Or at any time. Practicing these makes everyday communication smoother. Now let's move on to something extremely valuable for building advanced English. Describe the problem and offer a solution. Everyday life is full of small challenges, failed plans, unexpected delays, misunderstandings, and tasks that don't go well. When explaining a problem, you can say, I had a small problem, or I faced a little challenge, or something unexpected happened. These phrases sound calm and controlled. When coming up with solutions, you can say one thing we can try is either a better approach or a workable solution could be. These expressions demonstrate strong communication skills. Let's practice describing a problem. Think of something as small as being late or missing something. Now, let's express it in a natural, advanced way. I encountered a bit of a delay along the way. Or I had a bit of trouble with my schedule today. Now, come up with a solution. One possible solution might be to start a little earlier tomorrow. Or maybe we can rearrange the schedule to make it easier. Repeat slowly. These skills help you handle conversations calmly and intelligently. Now, let's focus on talking about goals and plans for the future. When speaking at level B1, B2, you want to hear motivated and clear. Instead of saying, I want to improve my English, you can say, one of my main goals is to improve my English fluency, or I'm trying to become more confident when speaking English, or I hope to expand my vocabulary this year. These sentences are richer and show that you are thinking deeply about your progress. When talking about long-term goals, you can say, in the future, I want to develop better communication skills. Or, I'm planning to pronounce it to sound more natural. Practice expressing your goals. Think about an English-related goal. Now let's say it in a naturally advanced way. One of my main goals is to communicate more confidently, or I'm working on improving my listening comprehension. Repeat gently. Saying your goals out loud helps you stay motivated and confident. Next, let's explore the expression of hope and expectation. When you hope for something, instead of saying, I hope so, you can say, I really hope everything goes well, or I'm expecting a positive outcome, or I hope everything goes well. These phrases express emotions in a calm and mature way. When expressing expectations, you can say, I'm expecting it to be a productive day, or I hope it's better than before, or I'm planning everything to go smoothly. These expressions help you express optimism and confidence. Let's practice. Think of something you hope will happen soon. Now, let's show it. I really hope everything goes well, or I expect a successful outcome. Repeat slowly. The more you express your hopes and plans in English, the more natural you'll sound. We will continue to expand your conversations with deeper everyday life situations, a richer vocabulary, and speaking practice that helps you be confident and fluent in every moment of the day. As we delve deeper into everyday life communication, let's explore a situation where many English learners find it difficult to talk about past events naturally. The conversation often shifts to things that happened before, yesterday, last week, last month, or even just an hour ago. At the B1 and B2 levels, you want to avoid short answers like, I got there or I did it. Instead, try using richer phrases to add detail and emotion. For example, instead of saying, I went to the store, you could say, I finally went to the store to get a few things. Or, I stopped by the store on my way home. Longer expressions sound more natural and demonstrate a deeper understanding of English structure. If you want to talk about something unexpected, you can say, something funny happened before. Or, I had an interesting experience today. These types of sentences make the conversation more engaging and help you sound confident. Practice describing a past event. Think of a small thing that happened before. Maybe you've met someone, solved a problem, or felt surprised about something. Now let's express it in an advanced way. Instead of saying, I met my friend, you can say, I happened to meet my friend while I was out. Or, I finally met my friend unexpectedly. Repeat your sentence slowly. Notice how the meaning expands and the fluency increases as you add small natural details. Another important area of actual conversation is talking about habits, especially comparing your past habits to your current ones. When speaking at an average level, avoid simply saying, I used to do it all the time. Try variations like, I used to do, but not anymore. Or, I was regular, or back then I was frequent. These expressions help you sound natural and sophisticated. For example, I used to get up early, but now my schedule is different. Or, back then, I used to spend weekends studying. These forms show deeper English tense control and help the listener understand your habits. Let's practice. Think about a habit you've had in the past. Now, let's express it naturally. I used to drink a lot of coffee, but now I'm trying to cut back. Or back then, I used to stay up late to do my homework. Repeat your sentence slowly. Describing habits is a powerful skill, and it will appear frequently in English conversations. Now, let's explore depictions as extremely useful people in everyday life. Whether you're talking about a friend, colleague, family member, or someone you meet, you need a natural and advanced vocabulary. Instead of basic words like good or good, use richer descriptions. For example, instead of saying she's kind, you can say that she's really warm and friendly, or that she has a very positive energy. Instead of him being helpful, you can say that he is extremely supportive, or that he is always trying to help others. These sentences help you sound expressive and emotionally intelligent. Practice describing someone. Think of someone you admire. Now, let's describe them in an advanced way. She is incredibly attentive and always pays attention to the little things. Or, he's the type of person who makes people feel comfortable. Repeat slowly. Great communication comes from describing people clearly and emotionally. Next, let's move on to the description of the places. Another essential skill, you may need to describe your hometown, workplace, coffee shop, school, or where you've been recently. Instead of saying it nice or beautiful, try a richer language like it has a really peaceful atmosphere, or it's a vibrant place with a lot of energy, or it's quiet, cozy, and perfect for relaxing. These expressions give the listener a clear picture and help you sound uplifted. Practice describing a place. Think of somewhere you visited recently. Now, let's describe it using natural expressions. It has a cozy atmosphere that makes me feel relaxed. Or it's a vibrant place full of activity or peace, and surrounded by nature. Repeat your sentence slowly. Visualization helps you learn English more deeply. Now let's explore talking about time naturally. Instead of saying, I'm going to go later, try, I'm going to go a little bit, or I'm going to go out sometime this afternoon. Instead of saying, I did it yesterday, try, I finished it last night, or I finished it last night. These expressions are often used by native speakers, and they help you sound more natural when talking about the future. Instead of, I'm going to do it tomorrow, you can say, I'm planning to finish it tomorrow, or I'll be able to finish it tomorrow. These types of phrases express confidence and organization. Let's practice. Think about something you plan to do soon. Now let's express it naturally. I plan to work on it tomorrow, or I'll be able to finish it by the end of the day. Repeat slowly. Good English is thoughtful English. Another important area of advanced conversation is explaining the reasons in more detail. Instead of simply saying because, you can use expressions like words, like cause, or the main reason is, for example, I decided to stay home because the weather is not good. Or, the main reason I chose this one is that it's more convenient. These expressions help your explanation sound clear and intelligent. Practice giving reasons. Think about a decision you have made recently. Now let's explain it using an advanced connector. I chose to stay tonight because I needed some rest. Or, the main reason I changed my plans was because I had too much work to accomplish. Repeat slowly. Each repetition will enhance your fluency. Now, let's move on to talking about these abilities that are very common in everyday life. Instead of saying maybe, you can use natural expressions like can or is possible or I can. For example, it's likely that I'll be out later, or maybe I'll take a break this afternoon. These expressions allow you to communicate uncertainty in a gentle and natural way. Let's practice. Think about something you can do later. Now let's say, maybe I'll do it, or maybe I'll do it later. Repeat slowly and smoothly. This helps you express yourself clearly without sounding uncertain or uncomfortable. Another essential skill is to express likes and dislikes in a polite and natural way. Instead of saying, I don't like it, you can say, it's not really my thing, or I'm not a big fan of it, or I don't like it very much. When you like something, instead of saying, I like it, you can say, I really like this, or I'm a big fan of this, or this is something I appreciate very much. These expressions help you sound friendly and fluent. Let's practice. Think of a dining activity or movie that you enjoy. Now let's say, I really like this, or I'm a big fan of this. Now think about something you don't like. Say, that's not really my preference, or I'm not a big fan of it. Repeat slowly. This helps you speak confidently and clearly. In social chats, we will continue to expand your English with deeper everyday life situations, more advanced vocabulary, and speaking practice that will help you communicate confidently in real-life situations. As we continue to develop your daily life, English is fluent. Let's explore another very popular and useful communication skill. Talk about expectations versus reality. In everyday conversations, people often share what they expect to happen versus what actually happened. This helps you express your feelings, experiences, and reactions in a more natural way. Instead of saying, I was expecting that, you can use more advanced expressions like, I was hoping it would get better, or I think it will be a lot easier, or I didn't expect things to work out this way. When you want to talk about reality, you can say, but in the end it was harder than I imagined. Or, but in the end it went very well. or but things didn't go according to plan. These expressions show the depth of emotion and the ability to converse naturally. Practice sharing expectations versus reality. Think about something you've been planning recently. Now let's describe it naturally. I was expecting it to be simple, but in the end it took longer. Or I thought it would be stressful, but it turned out to be surprisingly smooth. Repeat your sentence gently. This practice helps you express your personal experience in a fluent and understandable way. Another important topic is handling suggestions, especially when you want to politely accept or decline them. When someone gives advice or suggests something instead of just saying it's okay, you can say it's a good idea, or I'm going to try it, or I think it can really help. If you want to politely decline a proposal, you can say, that's a good point, but I don't think it's the right choice for me right now. Or, I appreciate the suggestion, but I might try something else. Or, I understand your idea, but I have a different approach in mind. These expressions help you appear respectful and confident even if you disagree. Let's practice responding to suggestions. Imagine someone tells you to try taking a break. You might reply, sounds like a good idea. I should take some time to relax. Now, imagine someone suggesting something that you don't want to do. You might reply, I appreciate this offer, but I think I'll handle it differently. Repeat each sentence slowly. These answers help you manage conversations gracefully. Now, let's explore talking about responsibilities that are very common in the workplace, school, and at home. Instead of saying, I have a job, you can say, I have a lot of work to do right now. Or, I have a few tasks to tackle. Or, I'm doing some important work right now. These expressions are natural and advanced. When you finish something, instead of saying, I finished it, you can say, I finished it, or I finished it earlier than today, or I finished it on time. These variations make your English sound more fluid and fluent. Let's practice describing responsibilities. Think about something you need to do today. Now let's say, I have a few things I need to take care of, or I'm doing a few tasks right now. Now think about something you've accomplished. Let's say, I've tried to get it done. Or I ended it earlier. Repeat these slowly to help your speech flow naturally. Now let's move on to expressing frequency, which is essential for describing habits, and repetitive actions. Instead of just using words like always, sometimes, or never, you can use phrases like I tend to, I often, I hardly ever, or I occasionally. For example, I tend to drink tea in the evening, or I rarely stay up late these days, or I go for an occasional walk in the morning. These expressions help you express how often you do something while sounding natural and expressive. Practice showing frequency. Think about something you do regularly. Say, I usually start my morning with some music, or I tend to check my messages before breakfast. Now, think about something you rarely do. Say, I almost never eat fast food, or I rarely stay up past midnight. Repeat each sentence gently and naturally. These expressions help you sound more advanced and confident when describing your habits. Another valuable daily living skill is describing the weather and its effect on your day. Conversations about the weather are extremely common in English-speaking cultures. Instead of simple descriptions like it's hot or cold, you can say it's warmer than usual today, or it's been quite cold this morning, or the recent weather has been unpredictable. To describe its effect on your day, you can say that the heat makes it difficult for you to concentrate, or that the rain slows things down, or the cool breeze that makes the morning feel refreshing. These expressions bring your conversation to life. Practice describing the weather naturally. Think about today's weather and express it in an advanced way. It's a little cooler than usual, or the sun makes the morning bright and energetic. Now add its effect. It helps me feel more alert, or it makes the day feel slower. Repeat slowly. This helps you describe everyday situations smoothly. Now, let's explore showing empathy, a powerful communication skill. When someone tells you about their difficulties, feelings, or difficulties, you need to respond politely and compassionately. Instead of just saying, "That sucks," try saying, "I'm sorry you're going through that," or "That sounds very hard," or "I can understand why you feel that way." When someone succeeds or shares something positive, instead of saying "good work," you can say it's great news, or "I'm really happy for you," or "you have to feel proud of yourself." These expressions help you connect emotionally and communicate like a fluent speaker. Let's practice empathy. Imagine someone telling you they're having a hard day. Answer softly, "I'm sorry you're dealing with that. I hope things will get better soon." Now imagine someone sharing the good news. Say, "That's amazing. You have to be really satisfied." Repeat gently. Empathy helps create warm and meaningful conversations. Another important area of communication is asking for clarification. Even advanced speakers sometimes need more information. Instead of asking, "What do you mean?" try saying, "Can you explain that differently?" Or, "Would you mind giving me a little more detail?" Or, "I just want to make sure I'm getting it right." These expressions sound polite and professional. Let's practice. Imagine someone saying something unclear. Meet, "Can you explain that a little more clearly?" Or, "Can you give me an example?" Repeat slowly. These phrases help you communicate intelligently and avoid misunderstandings. Now let's explore describing intent, which is crucial when planning or explaining your choices. Instead of saying, "I want to do something," you can say, "I'm thinking about doing it," or "I'm planning," or "I'm considering." For example, "I'm thinking about taking a short break," or "I'm planning to try a new hobby," or "I'm considering making some changes to my routine." These expressions sound thoughtful and mature. Let's practice. Think about something you plan to do soon. Now, let's express it naturally. "I'm considering taking a day off," or "I'm planning to rearrange my schedule." Repeat slowly. These phrases help your English feel smooth and natural. We'll continue to build your communication skills with more everyday life situations, natural expressions, and structured speaking practice to help you hear confidently and fluently in every moment. As we continue to reinforce English communication in your daily life, discover one of the most practical skills you need when interacting with others. Give advice in a helpful, natural, and polite way. Giving advice isn't just about telling people what to do. It's about guiding them in a gentle, respectful way. Instead of saying that you should do this, you can use softer, more natural expressions like, "If I were you, I would consider," or "You might want to try." Or one thing that can be helpful is that these expressions give space for others to decide while still appearing supportive. And when giving advice at work or in a learning environment, you can say that it might be a good idea, or perhaps you can consider these phrases that make you sound professional and thoughtful. Practice giving advice. Imagine your friend is stressed because they have too much work. You might say, One thing that might be helpful is to break down tasks into smaller steps. Or, if I were you, I'd take a break to clear my mind. Now, imagine someone who is unsure about trying something new. You might say, "You might want to try. It can be a good experience." Repeat these gently. Practicing advice helps you communicate in a kind and fluent manner. Now let's explore asking for advice, which is equally important. Instead of asking directly, "What should I do?" can you say you have any suggestions or what would you recommend? Or, "I appreciate your advice on this." These expressions help you sound polite and respectful. And when you want to ask for guidance in a formal situation, you can say, "I appreciate your opinion on this." Or, "Can you give me some guidance?" These sentences show maturity and confidence. Practice asking for advice. Imagine you're making a decision. Say, "Do you have any suggestions?" Or, "What would you suggest in this situation?" Repeat slowly. Asking for advice in natural language helps you engage in deeper, more meaningful conversations. Another important part of everyday communication is expressing doubts or hesitations. Sometimes you're unsure, or you need more time to think. Instead of saying, "I don't know," try expressions like, "I'm not entirely sure about that," or "I'm still thinking it through," or "I'm a little unsure at the moment." And when you need time to decide, you can say, "I need a little more time to think about it," or "Let me take a moment to look at that." These expressions help you communicate uncertainty calmly and confidently. Practice showing hesitation. Imagine someone asking you to make a quick decision. You might answer, "I'm still thinking it through," or "I'm a little unsure right now." Repeat gently. Natural hesitation makes your English sound more honest and fluent. Now let's move on to describing the experience in more detail, especially emotions and reactions. Instead of saying, "I'm happy," you can say that I feel really elated, or that it makes my day brighter, or that I'm pleasantly surprised. Instead of me being sad, you can say that I feel a little sad, or that it's a difficult moment for me, or that I feel emotionally drained. These expressions help you share your experiences more deeply and confidently. Talking about emotional reactions is an important part of building meaningful relationships in English. Practice describing emotions and reactions. Think about a recent positive moment. Now let's express it. "It really lifts my spirits," or "It makes me feel really happy." Now think about a challenging moment. Let's say it's emotionally tiring, or "I feel overwhelmed for a while." Repeat slowly. Using emotional vocabulary helps you sound expressive and natural. Another essential skill is to describe cause and effect in everyday situations. Instead of saying, "I'm late for traffic," try "heavy traffic causing delays or traffic slowing me down, so I arrive later than expected." Instead of saying, "I'm tired of working so much," you could say, "Working long hours makes me feel exhausted," or "A long day takes away a lot of my energy." These expressions show enhanced control over sentence structure and help your English sound smooth and connected. Let's practice cause and effect. Think about one little thing that happened today. Now, let's describe it using natural expressions. "The noise makes it difficult for me to concentrate," or "The pleasant weather helps me relax." Repeat slowly. Good communication often relies on clear explanations of cause and effect. Now, let's explore giving compliments, a skill that helps you build positive relationships in any language. Instead of simply saying that you look good, you can say that you look great today, or that outfit really fits you. Or that your smile brightens up the room, and instead of saying very well, you can say that you handled it really well, or that you did a great job with that, or I am impressed with your efforts. These compliments make people feel seen and appreciated. Practice praise. Imagine a friend who has accomplished something. Say, "You've actually done a great job on that." Or, "I'm proud of how hard you've worked." Now, think of a person who looks good today. Say, "You look great today, very confident and comfortable." Repeat slowly. Giving compliments naturally makes your English warm and friendly. Another common activity in everyday life is describing hobbies and hobbies. Instead of saying, "I like to read," you can say, "I like to read in my free time," or "I really like reading and learning," or "Reading helps me relax and disconnect." And instead of saying, "I like music," try to be a big fan of music or listen to music that helps me relax. These expressions add richness and personality to your conversation. Practice describing your interests. Think of something you like. Now, let's express it naturally. "I really enjoy cooking these days," or "I like to spend time outdoors. It helps me feel refreshed." Repeat slowly. Talking about your interests in detail makes conversations flow easily. Now let's explore how to handle disagreements or conflicts politely. Everyday life consists of moments of misunderstanding or different opinions. Instead of saying, "You're wrong," try, "I understand your point of view, but I have a different perspective." Or, "I understand what you're saying, but I'm not sure I agree." Or, "You make a valid point of view. However, I look at things differently." These expressions keep the conversation calm and respectful. And if you want someone to clarify their point, you can say, "Can you explain a little more?" Or, "Help me understand what you mean." Practice handling disagreements. Imagine someone saying something that you don't agree with. You might reply, "I understand your point of view, but I see it differently." Or, "It's an interesting idea, but I'm not entirely convinced." Repeat slowly. Handling disagreements politely makes you sound smart and emotionally fluent. As we continue to expand your communication skills, remember that fluency is not about speaking fast. Fluency is speaking clearly, calmly, and confidently. It's about expressing your thoughts naturally and connecting with others through language that really makes sense. As we continue to build your fluency in everyday life, English conversations, let's move on to one of the most practical skills you'll use every day. Demonstrate needs and interests in real-life situations such as shopping, ordering food, making appointments, or asking for help. When you want something in English, instead of saying directly, "I need this," you can use softer and more natural expressions like, "I'm looking for," or "I was hoping to find," or "Did you happen to have?" These phrases convey politeness and confidence and help you sound more upscale. For example, instead of saying, "I need a new phone," you can say, "I'm looking for a new phone with a good camera," or "I'm hoping to find something affordable but reliable." These expressions make your request sound smoother and more natural. Let's practice expressing needs. Imagine you're in a store. You can say, "I'm looking for a warm but light jacket," or "I'm hoping to find something darker in color." Now, imagine you're in a coffee shop. You can say, "I want something warm to drink." Or, "Do you drink oat milk?" Repeat slowly. These small changes make your English sound much more natural. Now, let's explore ordering food, which is a very common situation in everyday life. Instead of just saying, "I want this," Try using more polite expressions like I can get, or I will have, or I want. For example, can I buy a medium latte? Or I want a chicken sandwich without mayonnaise. When you want to customize something, you can say, can you add? Or can you skip it? These expressions make your interactions smooth and polite. Let's practice ordering food. Imagine you're at a restaurant. Say, I'm going to have grilled chicken with vegetables, please. Or, can I get a cup of tea with lemon? Now, customize your order. Is it possible to make it less spicy? Repeat slowly. Practicing practical phrases helps you speak confidently when it matters. Another essential skill in daily life is to make appointments, such as scheduling a doctor's visit, scheduling a haircut, or scheduling a meeting. Instead of saying, I want an appointment, use natural expressions like, I want to arrange an appointment, or is tomorrow free, or can I set a time for this afternoon? These phrases sound polite, organized, and fluent. When changing an appointment, instead of saying, I can't come, you can say, do I need to correct my calendar, or can I move my appointment to a later time? These expressions make your communication smooth and professional. Let's practice. Imagine you're calling a clinic. Say, I want to schedule an appointment next week. Or, is there a spot available in the morning? Now, imagine you need to change the appointment. Say, I need to make amends. Is there a later time? Repeat slowly. Making appointments naturally is an important step to smooth communication. Now, let's move on to problem-solving conversations, which come up in everyday life more often than you think. Sometimes things don't go well, a product doesn't work, a service isn't what you expected, or you need clarification about something. Instead of expressing frustration directly, use calm, natural phrases like, I think there might be a misunderstanding, or I'm having a bit of trouble, or can you help me figure this out? These expressions help you communicate politely and effectively. When explaining a problem, you can say the problem I'm having is, or what seems to be happening. When asking for help, can you say, can you please take a look at it? Or is there anything we can do to fix this? These sentences represent maturity and problem-solving abilities. Let's practice describing a problem. Imagine your order arrives incorrectly. You can say, I think there might be something wrong with my order. Or, the item I received was not what I expected. Now, ask for help. Can you help me solve this problem? Repeat gently. Problem-solving politeness is one of the most important communication skills in English. Now, focus on showing enthusiasm or lack thereof, which helps you sound natural. Instead of always saying it's great, you can use richer expressions like it sounds great, or I really want to try that, or that's very interesting. Instead of saying I don't like it, you can soften it by saying that I'm not too excited about it, or that it's not really my style, or that I'm not sure it's something I like. These small adjustments make your English sound emotionally intelligent. Practice showing enthusiasm. Think of something you like. Say, sounds great, or I really want to do that. Now, let's express a slight disinterest. Say, I'm not too excited about that choice, or I don't think that's really for me. Repeat slowly. Expressing emotions naturally is a sign of enhanced fluency. Another important area is invitation processing. When someone invites you to a certain place, you need more than just yes or nothing. If you want to accept, you can say that I like it very much, or that sounds great, or counts me in. If you want to politely decline, you can say, I appreciate the invitation, but I won't be able to do it. Or, it sounds lovely, but I already have a plan. Or, maybe next time. These expressions sound polite and friendly. Let us practice responding to invitations. Imagine someone invites you to a gathering. Say, I love it. What time should I be there? Now, imagine you can't attend. Say, thank you for inviting me, but I won't be able to participate this time. Repeat gently. These polite answers help you maintain strong communication skills. Next, move on to describing your daily challenges and how you deal with them. Instead of saying, my day was tough, you could say, I had a few challenges today. Or, it was a tough day, but I got through it. Or, things are a little overwhelming, but I've handled them. These expressions help you appear contemplative and confident. When describing how you solve a problem, you can say, I took a moment to think things through. Or, I've tried a different approach. Or, I asked for help and it made things easier. These sentences represent emotional awareness and maturity. Let's practice. Think of a small challenge today, saying, it's a little overwhelming, but I've handled it. Or, I tried a different approach and it worked. Repeat slowly. These expressions help you become a strong communicator. Now, let's explore talking about habits in a more advanced way. Instead of saying that I get up early, you can say that I usually start my morning early to be productive, or that my day usually starts at sunrise. Instead of studying in the evening, I tend to study in the evening when things feel quieter, or I prefer to review my assignments at the end of the day. These detailed expressions paint a clearer picture of your lifestyle and make your English sound natural. Practice describing your habits. Choose a simple daily action. Now, let's express it naturally. I like to spend some quiet time in the morning to prepare for the day. Or I usually relax in the evening with some readings. Repeat slowly. This will help you express your lifestyle with confidence. We'll continue to expand your everyday English with more advanced expressions, deeper communication strategies, and practical conversational practices designed to help you feel fluent, clear, and confident in any situation. As we move further into mastering everyday natural English conversations, let's discover an important communication skill that describes your thoughts clearly. Many English learners have trouble expressing what they think in a natural, confident way, especially when forming longer, more detailed explanations. Instead of using succinct phrases like, I think this or I believe that, you can expand your wording by saying how I see it, either from my perspective or what I've been thinking lately. These expressions allow you to present your thoughts fluently and make your speech sound more fluent. For example, instead of saying, I think the weather is going to change, you might say, the way I see it, the weather may change soon. Or, in my opinion, it looks like it might rain after that. These variations help you express yourself more naturally and feel more confident when speaking. Practice expressing your thoughts. Think about something that is happening today. Now, express your opinion clearly. In my opinion, it's a productive day, or the way I look at it, we just need a little more time to get this done. Repeat slowly. This helps your thoughts flow naturally in English. Another essential skill is to show agreement with nuances. Not all agreements are full agreements. Sometimes you partially agree, and sometimes you want to show understanding without fully supporting something. Instead of just saying yes or I agree, use more advanced expressions like I agree to some extent, or I understand what you mean, or I can understand the point. When you want to show strong consensus, you can say, I totally agree, or I'm on the same page, or that makes perfect sense to me. These expressions help you accurately communicate your feelings. It's not just that you agree or disagree, practice consent naturally. Imagine someone saying, I think a short break will improve productivity. You can answer, I totally agree. It helps to refresh the mind. Now let's practice partial agreement. I see what you mean, but I think it depends on the situation. Repeat gently. This type of expression is very valuable in both professional and social conversations. Now, let's focus on expressing disagreement politely, which is a very important skill. Instead of saying bluntly, I disagree, you can soften your tone with expressions like, I understand what you mean, but, or, however, I understand what you're saying, or, I respect your opinion, but I have a different opinion. These expressions help you avoid sounding rude or confrontational. In many cultures, polite disagreement is an important part of effective communication, and using these phrases helps you maintain healthy, respectful discussions. Practice disagreement politely. Imagine someone saying something that you don't fully support. You can say, I understand your point of view, but I look at everything else. Or, I respect your point of view, but I'm not completely convinced. Repeat slowly. These sentences help you express confidence without causing stress. Now, let's explore a topic that comes up very often in everyday conversations. Showing curiosity, asking questions naturally helps you keep the conversation lively and develop meaningful connections. Instead of asking basic questions like, what do you do? Or, where do you live? Use more natural expressions like, so, what kind of work are you in? Or, where do you live these days? Or, what part of the city do you live in? These questions sound more friendly and genuine. When you want to ask deeper questions, try, how did you get there? Or, what do you like best about it? These expressions encourage richer conversations. Practice asking questions naturally. Imagine you've just met someone. Say, so what kind of work are you in? Or, how did you get into that field? Repeat gently. Asking questions with curiosity shows interest and builds strong communication skills. Another important theme is expressing uncertainty about the future. Instead of saying, I don't know what's going to happen, you can say, I'm not sure how things are going to turn out. Either it's a little hard to predict right now, or I'm still deciding which direction to take. These expressions sound more thoughtful and advanced. When you're feeling optimistic, you can say, I have a feeling that everything will be okay, or I hope that the situation will improve. These variations help you communicate emotions and expectations naturally. Practice expressing uncertainty. Think about something that you're not sure about, saying, I'm not sure how things are going to turn out, but I'm still optimistic. Or, it's hard to predict right now. Repeat slowly. This helps your English seem more contemplative and calm. Now, let's move on to talking about day-to-day decisions. Instead of saying that I chose this one, you can say that I decided to choose this option, or that I ended up choosing this one because it felt right, or that I chose this decision after careful thought. These expressions show confidence and explain your reasons more clearly. If you want to describe a change of mind, you can say, I changed my mind, or I've reconsidered. 4. I decided to take a different path. These are common and natural ways to express decision. Practice making decisions in English. Imagine having to choose between two things. Let's say I end up choosing the simpler option, or I decide to choose what feels more comfortable. Repeat gently. These phrases help you sound fluent and confident. Next, let's focus on expressing relief, which is a very common part of emotional communication. Instead of saying, I'm relieved, you can say, I'm glad it's over. Or, it's a huge burden on my shoulders. Or, I feel so much better now that it's done. These expressions allow you to express your emotions naturally. When things are resolved in a positive way, you can say, I'm really happy that everything went well. Or, what a relief. Practice expressing relief. Think of something stressful that has just ended. Say, I'm glad it was done. Or, it's a big burden on my mind. Repeat slowly. Expressing relief naturally helps you connect emotionally with others. Another important skill is to give short explanations using transition phrases. These are words like practical, good, basic, honest, and honest. They help you organize your ideas and listen more fluently. For example, I thought we could start later. Or, indeed, I accomplished that. Or, we basically just need to adjust a few things. These expressions make your speech flow more naturally. Let's practice transitioning. Think of a simple explanation. Start with a transition. Well, I need a little more time. Or, really, I've taken care of that already. Repeat gently. Transition phrases help you sound comfortable, confident, and natural. As we continue to explore English communication in everyday life, remember that fluency comes from practicing real sentences that you can use immediately in everyday life. The more you repeat, the faster your mind learns to think in English automatically. As we continue to strengthen your English fluency in your daily life, move on to communication skills that you will use continuously. Show surprise and reaction. In real-life conversations, people often react to news, good news, shocking news, funny news, or unexpected situations. Instead of just saying real or wow, you can use richer expressions like, oh, I wasn't expecting that, or that's surprising, or seriously, that's exciting. When something surprises you in a positive way, you can say, it's incredible, or it's great to hear, or I can't believe how amazing that is. If something is disappointing, instead of saying, oh no, you can express your reaction naturally by saying, that's too bad, or I'm sorry to hear that, or that will definitely upset you. These expressions help you hear expressions and connect more emotionally. Practice reacting. Imagine someone telling you that they have been promoted. You might reply, that's amazing, congratulations. Now, imagine someone telling you that they had a hard day. You might say, that's really hard. I hope tomorrow will be easier for you. Repeat slowly. Reactions make your conversations warm and natural. Now, let's explore the progress description, which is useful in everyday conversations about work, study, personal goals, or projects. Instead of saying, I'm improving, try more advanced expressions like, I've made steady progress, or things are getting better, or I'm getting more comfortable with it. When progress is slow, you can say, it's taking a little longer than expected, but I'm getting there. Or, I'm still figuring out some things, but I'm improving step by step. These expressions demonstrate self-confidence and self-awareness. Let's practice describing progress. Think about something you're doing, your English, your job, your health, whatever. Now, let's express it naturally. I've been making steady progress lately. Or, I'm still learning, but I feel more confident. Repeat gently. These phrases help you communicate positively about your growth. Another important skill is describing options and choices. Everyday life often requires you to choose between different things: food, clothing, activities, plans, or decisions. Instead of saying that there are only two options, try deciding between the two, or I have a few possibilities, or I was torn between these two ideas. When you explain your choice, you can say, I chose this option because either I chose this option because it seems more practical, or I like this option because it feels more comfortable. These expressions sound fluent and thoughtful. Let's practice explaining the options. Imagine you have to choose something today. You might say, I ended up choosing this option because it seemed more convenient. Or, I was torn between two options, but I made the simpler choice. Repeat slowly. Clearly explaining your options helps you communicate confidently in any situation. Now, let's explore how to express preferences in detail. Instead of saying that I like this more, you can say that I tend to prefer this because it feels more comfortable, or that I usually choose this because it suits me better, or that I am more attracted to this option. When you don't like something, instead of saying, I don't like it, you can say, that's not really my style, or it doesn't appeal to me at all, or I don't particularly like that. These expressions sound polite and natural. Let's practice expressing interests. Think of two activities. Say, I tend to enjoy reading more because it helps me relax, or I'm more drawn to outdoor activities. They give me energy. Now, think about something you don't like. Let's say, that's not really my style, or I don't particularly like that. Repeat gently. Detailed interests make your English expressive and enhanced. Next, let's focus on expressing urgency and importance. In everyday life, some situations require quick action, and you may need to communicate that clearly. Instead of saying this is important, you can say this needs immediate attention, or that this is quite urgent, or that we should address this issue as soon as possible. In less urgent situations, you can say that there is no need to rush or take the time or whenever you get the chance. These expressions help you manage expectations clearly in conversations. Let's practice. Imagine something urgent happening. Say, this needs to be dealt with as soon as possible. Or, it's pretty urgent. We should act quickly. Now, imagine something that isn't urgent. Say there's no rush. Just do it when you can. Repeat slowly. These expressions help you communicate your priorities smoothly. Let's now move on to describing the conditions and possibilities. Instead of saying, if this happens, I'll do it, you can use more advanced expressions like, if that's the case, then I will, or if it happens, I'll make sure, or if everything goes according to plan, I'll. These conditioned expressions help you speak more naturally and fluently. They also help you sound more nuanced and versatile. Let's practice. Think of a real-life situation. Say, if all goes well, I'll finish tomorrow. Or, if anything changes, I'll let you know. Repeat slowly. Conditional expressions help you appear confident and prepared. Another very helpful area is to express encouragement. Encouragement comes in friendships, family conversations, workplace situations, and personal growth. Instead of saying you can do it, try I believe in you or that you are more capable than you think. or you've dealt with tough things before, you'll get through this too. When someone feels anxious, you can say, "Take a deep breath, you're doing very well," or "Just take it one step at a time, you're on the right track." These expressions help you support others emotionally and connect more deeply. Let's practice motivation. Imagine your friend is stressed. Say, "You're stronger than you think," or "Take it one step at a time, you're doing great." Repeat slowly. Encouragement helps build strong communication skills rooted in empathy and confidence. Let's now explore expressing satisfaction or dissatisfaction. Instead of saying, "I'm happy with it," you can say, "I'm really happy with the outcome of it," or "I'm happy with the results," or "This is exactly what I had hoped for." When you're not satisfied, instead of saying, "I don't like it," you can say, "This doesn't quite meet my expectations," or "I'm hoping for something a little different," or "I'm not entirely happy with this." These expressions sound professional and polite. Let's practice. Think about something that has gone well. Say, "I'm really happy with the results." Now think of something that is not good. Say, "It didn't quite meet my expectations." Repeat gently. These expressions help you express your reactions clearly and maturely. As we continue to build on these communication techniques, remember that fluency comes from exposure, repetition, and use of language in real-life contexts. Each phrase you practice will bring your English closer to easy, natural communication. As we come to the final lesson of today's masterclass, let's explore one more essential communication skill that will enhance your English in everyday conversations. Abbreviate. Summaries help you repeat the main idea of something clearly without giving too much detail. Instead of saying "this happened and that happened," you can use natural expressions like "to summarize it" or "basically" or "summarize." These phrases allow you to communicate effectively when someone needs a quick explanation. For example, if your friend asks how your day went, you might say, "In short, it's busy but productive." Or basically, everything goes smoothly, except for the morning rush hour. These expressions make your English sound organized, confident, and fluent. Let's practice summarizing. Think about your day so far. Now let's express it naturally using a summary phrase. You can say, "In short, it was a pretty good day," or "In short, I accomplished most of what I had planned." Repeat gently. Summaries help you be concise while still being expressive. Another important skill that we should mention before the lesson ends is to describe the possibilities for the future in a hopeful, realistic, or uncertain way. Instead of just saying "maybe," you can say "there's that possibility," or "there's that possibility," or "I'm looking at this idea." You can also express hope as "I'm expecting," or "I'm excited about the idea." These expressions give depth to your future plans. For example, "I'm considering the idea of starting a new hobby," or "maybe I'll be traveling next month," or "I look forward to improving my communication skills even further." Practice describing future possibilities. Think of something you hope to do soon. Say, "Maybe I'll try something new this week," or "I'm excited to learn more English in the coming days." Repeat slowly. This helps you feel more confident when talking about the future in natural English. Now, let's explore speaking with confidence, which is the ultimate goal of everything we've practiced today. Speaking confidently doesn't mean perfect. It means being comfortable with expressing yourself. Instead of worrying about mistakes, try using supportive phrases for yourself like, I can express this clearly, or I know how to communicate this idea, or I'm improving every day. When you speak with calm confidence, even simple phrases sound powerful. When you approach English with fear, even the best vocabulary feels difficult. Confidence is built through repetition, patience, and understanding that communication is about connection, not perfection. Let's train your inner confidence. Take a moment and tell yourself gently, I'm improving every day, or I can communicate my thoughts in English, or I'm becoming more fluent with each step. These inner sentences are important because your thinking shapes your fluency. Now, let's end this lesson by reinforcing the value of everything you've learned. You've practiced greetings, describing your day, expressing opinions, handling misunderstandings, making suggestions, expressing feelings, talking about goals, summarizing information, and speaking with natural confidence in everyday life situations. The combination of these skills creates a solid language foundation that will help you speak more fluently at B1 and B2 levels and confidently progress to advanced fluency. Remember that everyday English is not simply about vocabulary and grammar, it's communication. It's about expressing yourself clearly, understanding others, and connecting in ways that are truly meaningful. And every time you practice these phrases, your English becomes smoother and more natural. Let's practice one last moment of expressing ourselves before we finish. Think of one thing you want to improve in your English journey. Now, let's put it mildly. I'm doing this and I'm going to get better. Whether it's speaking faster, hearing more clearly, using advanced vocabulary, or confidently expressing your feelings, one step at a time, practicing one step at a time, you're growing. That development is fluency. And remember, communication is a daily habit. Try to use even one or two phrases from this lesson in your real-life conversations today. The more you use them, the more they will naturally flow out of your mind and voice. You're much closer to fluency than you think, and each practice session gives you another step forward. Thank you so much for spending your time learning with me today. If you enjoyed these real-life B1, B2 conversations, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new fluency lesson. Remember, every minute you practice brings you one step closer to speaking English with confidence. This is Emily from Emily US English, and I'll see you in the next episode. Keep practicing, keep improving, and keep speaking.